Hello coaches and welcome to this edition of Give and Go Live. My name's David Newberry and I'm joined by my colleague Ian Barker. Hello Ian.
Hello David.
Ian, we are going to be looking at a second in the series video from the 2019 convention looking at developing wide attacking play featuring Abigail, Katz from New York Red Bulls. And as we have become accustomed, we will be looking at the illustrations first. Then we'll be looking at the 2019 convention video, and then finally looking at some global coach animation. So Ian, in the first activity that we just showed last week with Abigail, we just looked at a traditional pattern play activity without defenders. Now, in this activity, we're bringing in two defenders, each one of them only able to defend on their half of the area. And as we remember, the number 2 is our right side fullback, our number 7, our right side midfield player, our number 10 is our central midfield, either an attacking midfield player or with withdrawn striker, whatever your preference is, and then we have the number 9, which is our striker. So let's talk a little bit about some of the methodology here as it pertains to sequence 1.
So at one level, a somewhat straightforward 4 versus 2 keep away. But there's a couple of little things here that the coaches can work on. So first of all, the number 9 is the objective. That's where we're trying to go to. You might consider at some point allowing that number 9 to move up and down the line to put extra stress on the defending 2 if you choose to. So that could be something. What I really like in our little image here is that we've got a good supply of soccer balls, so this activity can keep flowing. And a really critical but small thing is that when we serve the ball, encourage the players to play the ball off a second touch. The prep touch will then incite the movement of the 7 and this movement of the 10, and then the second touch is the pass. So rather than have your players start each activity with a stationary ball, have them start with a moving one. And then just finally, and what I like here is how the 10 has checked 2 and then away, and how 7 has checked 2 and stayed 2. So they've managed to offset that diamond, which will pay dividends as we look forward into the rest of the activity.
Thanks, Ian. And as we see the activity progress, the number 2 that played the first pass into the number 10 has now entered on the field. But instead of just moving in a straight direction, they have moved towards the inside of the field. Remember, the outside of the field or the sideline is where the number 7 is, our right side midfield player. And so by moving inside, that player has now created space for the number 7 to exploit. And as we see, as the sequence continues, the number 10 plays the ball back to the 2. The defender now moves across to defend the 2. The other defender in the other half of the field has now got tight to the 10, and that has allowed our number 7 to move into an advanced position to combine with the number 9. A couple of things to mention here: if the defenders win possession of the ball, they dribble over the end line to score a point, and the player that passed the ball in, the number 2, can immediately join in and create an overload. So we could potentially have the number 10 drop in, the number 7 drop in, and the number 2 to create a 3 versus 1. And similarly, as the ball progresses forward, the 2, the 7, and the 10 can join in to the same half of the field as the number 9. Ian.
Great. So one of the things I would say to coaches is sometimes we get a little bit confused or maybe feel a little bit inadequate when somebody uses terms we don't understand. And one of those might be third player run. But this is an example of a third player run. So the 7 was originally here, and the number 2 obviously was originally here, which meant that this one defender had to be concerned about the 2v1. At the point where the defender focuses on the 2, it allows the 7 to break forward. So we've made that 2v1, we've turned the defender around, and now we've got some movement off the ball. Critically, our 2, once they have played the original pass to 10, has supported at an angle. So that has given us that 2v1, number 2 and 7 versus the 1. And what we see now is into 10, back from 10, and this is the third man run. This is the player moving off the ball into an advanced position to receive the penetrating pass that breaks the opponents down and breaks various lines of the opposing defense. So that is a simple example, the number 7 player executing a third man run.
Okay, now we go on to our third sequence, and as we remember, the number 10 played into the number, the number 7 played into the number 9. Now the players have moved into different positions, now going from the opposite end. So our number 2 always starts because they're the defensive player. The number 2 is now playing forward to the number 7, who's playing on the wide right, and then number 10 is still playing on the inside of the field, with number 9 being the target. So we've reversed the direction of the game, and by doing so, we need to change the functional positions of players. And Ian will talk a little bit more about that right now.
Yeah, so I think it's critical when you do this activity that you make it more than just a 1, 2, 3, 4 versus 2. So it's a lot more than that if you choose to make it so. So you're explicit. You are my wide right player hugging this touchline. You are my right defensive player who will play it in, and then you may overlap or you may underlap. You are my central midfielder that's come inside the field, and then you're my post-up number 9 target player. And be explicit to get the most out of this session. Now, the next part is, if you're coaching maybe a U11, U12, and you like your players to experience all the positions, the rotational system, as shown by the white lines, and ultimately rotating through the 4 stations, makes a lot of sense. If, however, your team is more experienced and you have set positions, then you should always run it such that your number 2 is wide right in the back, your number 10 is a midfielder, your number 7 is wide right. And you wouldn't make this a two-way activity, and you wouldn't rotate the positions if you have that established basis of a team.
We're now going to look at the video, Ian, so good time for you to go and have a good drink of water, and we will review this video about 4.5 minutes. There will be sound, and then we'll come back to look at Global Coach.
A new activity here. The objective is the game is to get this ball to the other side, okay? As soon as I play the ball in, I can now come onto the field and support my teammates. As attackers, you girls are free to go anywhere you want. Defenders, you have to stay on your half, okay? Defenders, if you win the ball, you can dribble to this side for a point, all right? As soon as you win it and the attackers win it back, the play is dead, and we start from the other side, okay? So we'll just walk through quick. Defenders, don't win the ball here. All right, we're combining. So yours our target? Yeah, you're gonna stay on the line that time. Go ahead. And now we're gonna play in, okay? Middle girls, you're gonna stay there, and we'll rotate in a little bit. Players on the outside, you're gonna rotate on the outside, okay? So let's try one time through from that side. All right, let's try live now, defenders. And Bella, you're gonna rotate to the outside. Go ahead, we'll play live this time. All right, probably give them about 2 or 3 more options. And in this progression, in this activity, I'm looking to see if they can take those patterns and combinations and use them and make decision what to use based on the pressure and space they see in front of them. All right, hold up there, Bella. Good try. We're gonna start back here. Ashley, come back over here. Can you pass me that one? Thank you. And what's your name? Or who, you passed them, right? What's your name? Raina. Okay. So as soon as Raina passes this ball into Bella, okay, and Caitlin, you took a few steps towards the ball, what needs to happen from our attackers? Okay, so Ashley, you're doing what now? Okay, you're making a run into space. Now, how do you decide what to do? Okay, so you go up here. Now, what happens if that defender on Caitlin, if Caitlin as a defender is really tight on the ball, does Bella have many options? No, so depending on where that defender is, maybe you decide to just support back here, okay, so in case she gets stuck. Now, what else happens when Ashley decides to move into that space and her defender follows? Go ahead, move into that space. What's just happened for us? There's space there too, okay? So maybe we can work on some of those combinations. Ashley, come back here. All right, so let's say you're gonna move into the space. Maybe Bella can play you the ball. Go ahead, we'll walk through. And now maybe you can rotate around the outside, overlap into the space. All right, so let's play the ball from back here. All right, now those are just a few different options. You guys can choose where you want to play the ball depending on the space and pressure in front of you, okay? Go ahead. Coaches, overall in this activity and the overall theme, I'm looking for the connection between the teammates. Can they decide where to go, how to support their teammate, when to move based on the pressure and space in front of them? So it'd be super crucial to then move this activity into potentially a conditioned game, so there's even more decisions that the players will have to make based on what they see.
So hopefully a good example of Abby coaching on the playing field with young players at the convention. You can see the type of environment that we provide instructors at the convention. And what I really liked about what we saw there on video was that Abby was able to allow one group to keep practicing, I think under the supervision of an assistant coach, but then she was able to coach her group. So a nice example from Abby.
Yes, Ian. Now we're going to go and look at the global coach animation of the same activity. It's about 35, 40 seconds in length, and then we'll come back for your concluding comments. Okay, Ian. Yes, Ian, we're just going to go back to the slide presentation, but any concluding comments?
Yeah, I'm hoping that hearing myself and yourself talk about it, seeing Abby deliver it, and then seeing the animation works for the audience. So maybe one or two of those methods is easier to follow what we're talking about. But as a learning point, consider that sometimes your players will learn differently too. They might be audio learners or visual learners. So the same type of blended lesson that we've given you here, I think sometimes in our training, we should be thinking about with our players.
Well, thanks very much, Ian, and thank you, coaches, for joining us on this edition of Give and Go Live. Please join us for the next one.